When you think of the word Jeep, this is the image that probably pops into your mind. The Wrangler, two-door with its roof off, no doors, climbing on some rocks. But today, the Jeep lineup includes a lot more than just this Wrangler. There's the four-door wagon, the Unlimited, and the all-new 2020 Jeep Gladiator. Let's take an in-depth look at these two cars. Here we have the Unlimited in the Rubicon trim. The Rubicon is the most off-road capable version of the Wrangler, so it has a lot more hardware underneath to help it tackle those rougher roads, higher ride height, even better tires, things like that. Up front, it is trademark traditional Jeep. We will talk to Mark Allen, the designer for the Jeep, and he will give us his insights in a few minutes, but it's a very recognizable styling, and they've retained that. And I also like the modern touches they've added, for example, these LED headlamps, projector lights, and subtle other cues like that. But it's a pretty bold design. It's a very big car overall. The Unlimited is the four-door version, so it's available on all the trims, the Sport S, the Sahara, and the Rubicon. The Unlimited is 188 inches long, and the wheelbase is 118.4 inches thereabouts. The four-door configuration improves practicality, allows ease of access to the rear passengers, and overall is a more practical car. The trunk space is also very generous. Of course, if you take the roof off, it's also easy to access and brings that classic Jeep look to the Unlimited. I also like the stance that these larger wheels and the flared wheel arches provide this car. And to top it off, a large spare tire on the tailgate completes that authentic Jeep look. Let's take a look under the hood. These clamps also provide that extra bit of engagement, I suppose. So, powering the Jeep Wrangler is a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder, like you can see in this case, which makes 270 horsepower and 295 pound-feet of torque. There's also a 3.6-liter Pentastar V6, which makes 285 horsepower and 260 pound-feet of torque. They either come with an 8-speed automatic or a 6-speed manual. The towing capacity of the 285 horsepower engine variant is 3,500 pounds. So, pretty formidable, capable machine. Let's get inside. Of course, in this case, the doors are on, but you can take them off and make ingress that much easier. Quite a monotone interior, very flat door also, but materials are not that bad. Pretty plush, some netting here. Let me climb in real quick. Getting inside is a bit of a climb, thanks to that extra ground clearance. Getting comfortable is not that tricky. You have a lot of adjustments in the seat for seat height and lumbar support and reclining, things like that. The dashboard is also easy laid out. You can see there's a large display in the middle where you can access a lot of information, and yeah, it's quite useful. The center screen, actually, when I drove this car earlier, I did not like that it's facing, directly to the back. I wish it was a little bit more tilted towards the driver. It is a bit of a reach, but more than that, I think it would have been a little bit nicer if it was facing the driver. But apart from that, really large rotary dials for your controls, heated steering wheel, heated seats, a lot of options to make your life in this car a lot more comfortable. A lot of places to charge your phones. Being the Rubicon, you also have a lot of off-road capable hardware, including a transfer case, as you can see down here, locking differentials, which you can operate with that, a electronically decoupling sway bar, and yeah, lots of storage spaces. Headroom, in all honesty, is great with the roof off, as you can see right now. But if I imagine that the roof is around this height, it can get a bit cramped for a lot of taller passengers. And that's also because this is a body-on-frame configuration, which means that even though it's quite tall and big on the outside, the cab itself is not necessarily that large. But on the whole, width is pretty good, which also makes the cabin quite airy and open. Let's climb inside. Watch your head. Well, same story back here. A little bit of a climb, but space for your knee is not that bad. The bench is a little bit on the lower side, I would say. For somebody of my height, 5'8" or 1.7 meters, it's pretty good, but taller passengers might find their knee a little bit upright. A lot of places to fasten your tools in a very organized manner. This is something that they've also included. A net down here. Air conditioning vents for the rear seat passengers. A lot more charging ports down here as well. You can get these rubber mats, which are easy to clean and just hose down. After a day of dune bashing with the roof off, you can expect a lot of dirt inside. Creature comforts also include a center armrest, and it's also cool because this headrest is integrated, and that kind of prevents the armrest from going all the way down, and this also helps it retain a good height for your elbow. Cup holders, and yeah, speakers here as well, so a pretty loud rocking sound system, I can assume. You can open the tailgate as such. If you have the roof up, as in the case of the Sahara, Jonas, if we can get a shot of that white Jeep over there, you can see that there's also a glass, so you would swing this out and then the glass can go up. Very flat loading bay, generous amount of space, a little bit more storage down here as well, and a large subwoofer, some charging ports as well. So this is the Wrangler Unlimited, but we'll show you now the Gladiator, which actually has a proper 5-foot bed in the back. And here we have the Gladiator. Of course, in the front and along the side till the second door, it's about the same as the Wrangler, but as you can see, there's a 5-foot bed at the back. It's 31 inches longer, and in fact 19 inches longer in terms of the wheelbase as well. Again, front is very similar to the Wrangler, has a lot of extra features in terms of safety kit, like a 360-degree camera, a lot of parking sensors, things like that. And this is branded as a 100% truck, 100% Jeep. So the payload, for example, is 1,600 pounds. So let's take a look towards the side. Boy, as you start walking along the side, you can really feel that extra size and length. But this improves its capability, it improves rather its practicality as an adventure vehicle. This bed is quite large. It is at par with other competitors like the Toyota Tacoma. It is also at a lower height, so you can reach over this quite easily and reach items inside without having to climb up onto one of these things, for example. The extra length might hinder a little bit of maneuverability off-road, but like I mentioned, they have a lot of cameras, sensors, and safety tech to help make that a little bit easier. While most of the things are the same, there are a few changes on the interior of the Gladiator as compared to the Wrangler. One thing, for example, is that under the seat there is a separate storage compartment which you can lock. So when you do have the roof off and the doors off, you can keep your valuables here and make sure they're locked away and safe. And finally, this is the area of the most difference between the Wrangler, and that is the tailgate. There is a tailgate that drops down and now swings out like you see in the Wrangler. Like I mentioned, 5-foot loading area, very capable payload capacity and towing capacity as well. Abrasive material, so you can put some rough items. A 115-volt power socket over there, a lot of tethering points, lights. So put your bicycles, put your motocross bikes, go on an adventure. That's what this car is just egging you to do. So while the Gladiator still retains the iconic Wrangler design philosophy, there are new additions like the flat bed. But don't take it from me, let's talk about the design with the man himself, Mark Allen. I'm here with Mark Allen. He is the chief designer for Jeep, and he has been the chief designer for the past 10 years. So it's safe to say that the way Jeep looks today is because of you.
Well, yeah, I've had my hand in a few of them, yeah. Lucky enough to be the head of Jeep design, been here in about 10 years doing that. Before that I was doing pickup trucks and Jeeps, so back and forth, yeah, throughout the years.
Fantastic. So, Mark, maybe you can tell us a little bit about the story of how Jeep started. For example, let's take the Wrangler behind us right now, especially in the Gladiator configuration. How Jeep has evolved from the traditional kind of 4x4 Jeep utilitarian vehicle to something which is lifestyle oriented, is almost a cult symbol right now, and how you have been a part of that, how you feel, just the story behind that.
Honestly, I would say that Wrangler really hasn't evolved too much. It hasn't strayed very far from its roots. You remember 1941, that's when we put together the first little flat fenders. After the war, that became a brand. It was never meant to be a brand, but the basis of what now is known as the Wrangler, since 1987 it's been the Wrangler, that has evolved. It's better off-road, but it's more importantly, it's better on-road. When we added the four-door to the lineup in '07, the four-door opened up a whole new arena for us. So the vehicle became less of a toy, and you could use it every day. Much more comfortable, especially on the road. The Gladiator now is the third member of that Wrangler family, so we just keep opening the horizons to it. We refreshed, did an all-new Wrangler last year. We showed that in the LA Auto Show. It's been on sale for about a year now. And we put a lot of effort into the interior, made big long lists of things that could be improved. The way the top worked, the way the interior was set up, making the vehicle drive nicer, but even then made it more capable off-road. Added a 33-inch tire. We've now added winch-ready bumpers to it. So we've been improving Wrangler over and over, and now we've added the Gladiator is its own beast. It's made from a lot of the parts that make Wrangler. This is our entry into the mid-size pickup truck segment. Jeep has had 6 pickup trucks in the past. The most notable was the Gladiator. The Gladiator was a full-size, full-on, body-on-frame pickup truck. Lasted through about 1988 or so. So that was our just beast of a truck, tough truck. Making it from the Wrangler, we get a lot of the good Wrangler stuff. That the roof comes off of all of them. There's a soft top, hard top, doors come off, windshield folds down, And I always joke, well, people say, why would I put the windshield down? Why
wouldn't you?
Why? Well, I say these fun modes of transportation don't have a windshield. A surfboard, a bicycle, a dirt bike, a roller coaster, right. It's part of the unique Wrangler story, and we chose to keep that alive. What's neat about the Gladiator, what stands out here from every other mid-sized truck, is this part, the Wrangler, the Jeep part. What we're standing in front of here is a Rubicon. Rubicon sits up on a 33-inch tire, and it has a little bit higher ride height than the wagon, than the Wrangler. Steel bumpers, winch-ready bumpers to it, low-range off-road locking differential. So it's got all the good off-road goodies to it. Yeah, we expect people will buy this. Maybe they already have a Jeep. They're going to tow with it. It's got real towing capability, real payload capacity to it. They'll add it to the arsenal of stuff they have.
Great. I had the opportunity to drive, I think, the new Sahara for a few days. I drove it from Chicago through Iowa, actually.
Oh, nice.
And so I got to...
through there, yeah.
It's quite flat, a lot of cornfields out there in Iowa. And, of course, I understand that the Wrangler is a cult classic.
Yeah.
But, in terms of its on-road capability, I still found that on the highway you still have to kind of keep fixing the steering wheel just to keep it on the lane. And I was thinking to myself, the Wrangler is such an iconic car, you know, and I understand you have to maintain what it is. You know, you have to maintain what it is. You can't dilute its off-road capability. You cannot dilute what makes, you know, you can't dilute its personality.
Lots of good behind-the-scenes conversations about this, right? On and on and on.
I can totally imagine because I felt the same thing. Because at one point, I mean, one side of me was like, it should be a little bit more suited for on-road driving because that's where most people would drive it. But then again, it would kind of sabotage or be a sacrilege to what it stands for. And you have some really great offerings for on-road SUVs like the Grand Cherokee, or even lower down, the Compass is a fantastic SUV. So it's a bit of a it's
Wrangler and you know the Gladiator is going to be part of this story, but it's the nucleus. It's the center of everything that we do in Jeep. So if it's a Renegade, Grand Cherokee, doesn't matter what, it gets a little piece of the Wrangler into it. I like that, and we're going to keep that. The off-road part of it is where we were born. That's why we are even around. The brand came about, wasn't a brand. After its usefulness in the Army, it went on to a nice civilian life and grew. The second product after the first little flat fender was a station wagon and a pickup truck. And the station wagon, being made from the pickup truck, they didn't know it at the time, but they created the SUV.
right.
And then later on in the early 60s, they created what they thought was a station wagon, the Wagoneer, but it had four-wheel drive capabilities and truck-like beginnings, and they created the luxury SUV. It's a really, I think it's a fantastic story what Jeep is. Even the name, no one really knows where the name came from, and I hope we never find out.
It's a
Yeah,
mystery to
yeah,
have.
I like that. I like that. It's just a unique part of the brand.
For me, the Jeep name, by the way, I want to hear what you guys think is the real name. I mean, the genesis of the name. For me, it was always the JPV. You know, not the Jeep from Popeye, but it was the general purpose vehicle, which became colloquially called as the Jeep or the GP, and then became the Jeep. So okay, well, thanks.
I believe both of them, and I don't care, and I hope, like I said, I hope we never find out.
Yeah. So just maybe a couple words on what can be coming forward, what's upcoming, what's the future of the Wrangler. I mean, now you have the station wagon, now you have the pickup truck here with the Gladiator, and you're competing with, of course, other FCA products that we just saw, like the 1500, but which is, again, this is lifestyle. It is the Jeep, it is the Wrangler. It's not really trying to be a pickup truck, but it still has
It's a real pickup truck. It really is. Only in a crew cab, 5-foot box configuration, and we were afraid of that, and we have real towing numbers and real capacity numbers for the truck. Where we're going to go from here, we'll probably take a breather on these and let them saturate the market a little bit. We're on to other things. I can't talk about future product, but we've got a lot of ground to cover. There's a lot of things going on in Jeep right now, so watch us.
While the Wrangler still remains the icon of Jeep, the Gladiator is now taking that to a much higher level. I mean, look at this picture right here with the motocross bikes on the bed. Just screams out adventure, go anywhere ability, and wilderness. Very appealing, a very lifestyle-oriented product. Let me know what you guys think. Of course, we haven't had a chance to test this car out. These are still pre-production prototypes, but hopefully we'll get our hands on one of them pretty soon, and we can bring you an in-depth full review.